What happens when you travel halfway around the world expecting to watch football, but end up leaving with a completely different impression of the people?
The craziest thing ever has just happened to me. If you was in my live stream, you would have seen, let me explain. But this is why America has the best people on earth.
That's exactly what happened to some of the international fans who experienced America during the 2026 FIFA World Cup. For many visitors, America was supposed to be about the stadiums, the matches, the massive cities, and the excitement of watching the world's biggest football tournament. But as they spent more time around American communities, some fans discovered something they didn't necessarily expect: American hospitality, strangers offering directions, people helping visitors figure out where to go, locals welcoming fans into their neighborhoods, and simple acts of generosity that turned unfamiliar places into places where visitors felt surprisingly comfortable.
The amount of support I have had on my videos from Americans is blowing my mind. So I live in the UK, and in the UK, nobody supports you for anything. Nobody from the UK has commented on my videos showing me love, but you know who is? You Americans, and I love you all for it.
And that created an interesting contrast. Some European fans began comparing what they experienced in America with life back home, with a few even saying they felt a level of openness and generosity they weren't accustomed to seeing in Europe. Now, that doesn't mean Americans are kinder than Europeans or that generosity doesn't exist across Europe. Every country has welcoming people, and every culture expresses hospitality differently. But sometimes, you don't appreciate a culture until you experience it as an outsider.
Americans, I'm in California right now, exploring your national parks, exploring your beauty, and we owe you an apology in Europe. This place is incredible.
And as these FIFA fans look back on their time in America, their stories reveal something fascinating. They may have arrived for the football, but the kindness they encountered could be what they remember most. So what exactly happened that left these visitors talking about American generosity? Let's hear it from the fans themselves. And if you enjoy seeing America through the eyes of the rest of the world, hit subscribe, because this story gets even more interesting.
I was just thinking about an interaction I had with an American lady the other day. She was asking me how I've been finding it. I've been here for a couple of weeks now, what the differences are between the UK and America. And I said that I found the people here are a lot friendlier. All my interactions, everyone's just so nice. People go out their way to be nice, whether that be at a gas station, a supermarket, on a hike. Even just driving, I found people were so much more polite. They'll put their hand up. And she replied saying, that's because we all carry over here. So is that the only reason people are nice?
So I unfortunately just had to walk through Times Square, and that place is full of Italian and French tourists dressed like complete caricatures. They have an NYPD hat with a Kobe Bryant jersey or something like that. And I would never think to say anything to them. They're having fun, and I think most Americans would just leave everyone be. Just, what's the harm in them doing that? It's part of their experience, and this is what they want to do.
It's really opened my mind to how the societies are different between the UK and America. In the UK, it's so frowned upon and so unsupported to do something out of the norm. And in America, it's embraced. People love it. And they especially love to see Brits talk about America. I honestly feel like America is now my second home. And I can't wait to go back out there. I literally cannot wait.
And this European visitor makes an interesting observation about something that goes far beyond football. He explains that, in his experience, when someone in Europe starts something new, whether it's a business, a creative project, or simply trying something different, they might receive very little encouragement at first. But he felt something different in America. He noticed that Americans seemed more willing to encourage people to give something a try, celebrate their efforts, and show support even when they were still at the beginning. Of course, this isn't true of every European or every American. Both continents have incredibly supportive communities. But his observation highlights a genuine cultural difference in how encouragement can sometimes be expressed. And for someone experiencing that kind of openness for the first time, even a small gesture of support can leave a lasting impression.
So I was in Texas, right? I went for a walk. I got lost, right? About 2 miles deep. couldn't find an Uber, I went live. Literally 2 minutes later, this lovely lady and her daughter pull up and pick me up. I'm in the back of these fans' car, right? They're driving me to the stockyards. I'm on FaceTime with a sister who's also a fan. They bought me water. They're so nice. But she wouldn't accept money, right? So what I did, I put $20 in the seat and ran out, right? She said no. She tracked me down in the car to give me the $20 back. They just wanted to be nice. I can't.
You know what I absolutely love about the US is that when I'm even alone somewhere, I never truly feel alone. I feel like I can talk to anyone and befriend anyone, and there's such a strong community feeling to it, which I really like.
A lot of Brits won't admit it, but we are obsessed with the US. Like, deeply obsessed. They mock it constantly, but they know everything about it. We know all the states, we know all the fast food chains, we know all the music, everything. I love the Brits who are constantly like, oh, you know, America's gone downhill, and then they will spend about 4 hours watching New York apartment tours on YouTube. A lot of Brits love an excuse to act morally superior. Like, ooh, the US, I could never live there. Meanwhile, they're like Googling Miami condos in the background.
And this British visitor takes a pretty bold shot at a stereotype he says Europeans sometimes have about America. His argument is basically this. Some Europeans love to criticize America and talk as if the country has completely gone downhill, but their curiosity tells a different story. He jokes that while people might publicly compare America unfavorably with Europe, they're secretly searching for condos in Miami, browsing apartments in New York, and spending hours watching videos of American homes and lifestyles on YouTube. Obviously, that doesn't describe every European, and criticism of America can be completely genuine. But there's an interesting contradiction here. You can criticize a country while still being fascinated by it. And perhaps that's what he's really pointing out. America has a huge cultural presence around the world, and even people who complain about it can still find themselves endlessly curious about what life there is actually like. Sometimes, the country you criticize the most is also the one you can't stop watching.
I think everyone could learn a thing or two from Americans. I was just walking in Soho and this guy came running around the corner and he was like, excuse me, you have great cheekbones, I hope you have a great day, and then just walked off. Like, not hitting on me, just was like, just to let you know. And I found that a lot on this trip, like Americans are genuinely just so friendly and so nice and so down to make new connections. Like London could never, Australia even could never, because Australia, everyone's just so cliquey, and then London, everyone's like too cool for school, you know what I mean?
I've just left my apartment, yeah, and I'm going for a walk, and I'm getting people wave at me, which is crazy. Because in the UK, like if you go for a walk down the street, no one waves at you. Like people just want to look you up and down, they want to fight. Here, people are waving at me, it being so nice and polite. That actually blows my mind. See, people want to talk to me, people want to make noises at me. I don't know what's that about. Wee, she went wee. I was like, okay. Do we?
I had to come to Walmart for a couple of things today, and it just occurred to me that all of these Europeans that are in America right now for the FIFA World Cup and visiting their local Walmarts, they must think we are so batshit crazy. Because looking at all of this stuff with the mind of a European, it just occurred to me they must think we're in some kind of a cult. Like, the way we just go nuts for the 4th of July. They must think we are.
And this American woman makes a hilarious observation about how Europeans might see America during the 4th of July. She basically imagines a European visitor watching Americans go all out with flags, fireworks, backyard parties, parades, patriotic decorations, and celebrations everywhere, and thinking, are these people in a cult? And honestly, from the outside, you can understand why it might look a little intense. The 4th of July isn't just a quiet national holiday for many Americans. It's a huge celebration of American identity, independence, and community. What makes her comment funny is that she's looking at her own culture through the eyes of an outsider. Because Americans might see it as completely normal: fireworks, barbecue, flags everywhere, music, and celebrating all day. But someone experiencing it for the first time could easily be thinking, okay, what exactly is happening here? And that's one of the funniest parts of cultural differences. The things that feel completely normal to us can look absolutely wild to someone seeing them for the first time.
They must think we are insane. The sheer amount of stuff that is Americanized. Like, look, it's a whole bin full of soccer balls. I've been in Walmart a million times. Like, for me, it's just a regular thing as an American. But now I'm in my first Walmart after having seen all of these videos that these Europeans are making. And I completely understand the novelty now.
So last night we slept outside this garage in a place called Brownstown, Illinois. When I went in, the amazing man at the counter instantly said, "What the fuck is this all about?" Very confused, as most people are. And after very briefly explaining the story, he said, "Wait 1 second." He turned round and I had no idea what he was doing. And this man wrote a check on the spot, a check for $200. And on the check, he wrote 3 words: importance of humanity. He said that.
And maybe that's the bigger lesson these visitors are taking home from America. The World Cup gave millions of people a chance to experience the country beyond the headlines, stereotypes, and social media arguments. They didn't just see the stadiums or famous landmarks. They interacted with ordinary Americans, experienced their hospitality, and saw everyday life up close. And what stands out is that their impressions weren't all the same. Some were surprised by the generosity. Others noticed how openly Americans encourage people who are starting something new. And some even questioned the way Europeans sometimes criticize America while remaining fascinated by its lifestyle and opportunities. None of this means America is perfect, or that Europe is somehow worse. Every culture has its strengths, its problems, and its own way of doing things. But that's exactly why travel matters. Sometimes meeting people face to face can challenge assumptions that years of headlines and online debates never could. The fans may eventually go home, but the experiences they had in America will stay with them. So, do you think Americans really showed the world a different side of their country during the World Cup? Tell me what you think in the comments. And if you enjoyed seeing America through the eyes of international visitors, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more stories like this. Because sometimes the best way to understand a country is to see it through someone else's eyes.